Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Day 4 of Ethics Week 2020. My name is Sonia King, and I'm an attorney advisor with the Office of Government Ethics. And my presentation this morning is on social media and the Code of Conduct. So welcome. This is probably the third year that I'm doing this presentation. If you've seen it before, though, it's different. I made some changes. Mostly because as I sat down preparing for today's session, there were some slides where I'd sort of introduce attendees to social media, show a sample Twitter page, show a sample Facebook page, and show everyone what the friends section looked like, what the photo section looked like. And I thought, and a couple of stats on the increasing popularity of social media, and I thought that just seemed so outdated this year. But hey, next slide. I thought if there are 90 of you participating this morning, that I'm willing to bet that 85 of you are on social media in some form. Because look, everyone else is on it, even the Pope. He's had a Twitter page since 2012. And shameless plug, Vega has a Twitter page. So not during the presentation, but afterwards, if you could follow us at DC Vega. But for the three of you that may not have social media, what is social media, right? Next slide. This is a common definition, not legal. Social media is an umbrella term that refers to internet-based tools, programs, and applications that allow users to share information. Individuals can create accounts and interact with other users, commonly referred to or on some of the sites as friends or followers in virtual communities. Next slide. When we think of social media, usually Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pop into mind first, but YouTube and LinkedIn are also considered social media because you can interact, share information, and friend or follow folks. So why is OGE doing a presentation on social media, right? What does it matter what you do on your Instagram or your Facebook on Saturday at a bar? While we all have rights to free speech, we do not have a right to employment with the District of Columbia government. So there are instances where our behavior or our conduct on social media can affect, there are ethics issues that can arise from our activities on these platforms outside of work. And OGE cares because, next slide, if you were to do something that violated the ethics rules, you can be sanctioned for it. Our director can do anything from a reprimand or impose up to a ministerial fine. Our board can fine up to $5,000 for every ethics violation on your social media account, or fines of up to 3 times the amount of any unlawful contribution or gift or outside income. And your agency may have rules on your use of social media, and they can impose their own sanctions all the way up through termination. Vega can't fire. What we do is sanction, but your agency can take other action. So what are these rules that govern the use of social media on the weekends when I think I'm free? What this slide is in front of you is what we call here at Vega, or what is known as the Code of Conduct or the Ethics Act. I wish I could tell you it was codified in one section or one title, but it's a couple sections of the DC Code. But for today's presentation, what I primarily plan to focus on is the District Personnel Handbook and the District Personnel Manual, and the Local Hatch Act. And I'm going to discuss how those two provisions or those two large sections of the Code of Conduct apply to your outside use or your outside activities on your social media account. So what does the Code of Conduct, all those statutes on that last page, say about the use of social media? Absolutely nothing at all. If I were to pull those provisions up either in LexisNexis or a simple Google search and hit Control F, I would not find social, I wouldn't find the word media, I wouldn't find Facebook. Nothing at all speaks directly to our conduct on social media. But my agency did publish in January of 2007 an advisory opinion regarding social media in the Code of Conduct. I've included a hyperlink here at the bottom, which is useless for you now, but these slides, I'm told, will be available online and you'll be able to click it. You can also go to our website if the suspense is killing you and search social media in the code of conduct and you can access it. But for this presentation, I will reference that and I will go through the district personnel manual and the local hat check and how it applies to your behavior on your social media accounts. So as a roadmap for the presentation, what I'd like to go through are common ethics, what I'm calling blunders on social media. As I've seen complaints come in through our office, I believe the best. I don't think that many of them are intentional. I think that people don't realize that they can get, for lack of, they can get in trouble for the things that they say on their social media page. They know it, but some things are not as obvious. You know that if you post certain images that, this can cause an issue, but these things are a little more subtle, and so we're going to point them out today. And the 5 major areas that I see that this comes up with is with respect to gifts, using public office for personal or private gain, political activity, recommendations or endorsements, and just the misuse of government resource generally. So we'll start with gifts. So when you think of gifts in social media, I know you're wondering, what does one have to do with the other? Well, what is a gift first? A gift obviously is anything of value. It's a gratuity, a favor, a discount, entertainment, hospitality, loan, forbearance, any other item having monetary value. Now, there are exceptions, but for purposes of the presentation, a gift is anything of value. Slide. And what does the Code of Conduct say about gifts? It says who we can get them from and who we can't get them from. So employees shall not, directly nor indirectly, solicit or accept a gift from a prohibited source, a subordinate employee, or a gift given because of the employee's official position or duties. A prohibited source is someone looking to do business with your agency. It is someone who either is applying for a grant, as an example, or whose activities your agency regulates. And gifts, now I have to tie it into social media, of course, right? Gifts can include solicitations on your social media page. And while, next slide, please. Like GoFundMe. For those of you who are familiar, or for those of you who are not familiar, GoFundMe is a crowdsourcing platform that allows people to raise money for almost any cause that they choose. So you would go to GoFundMe and you can create this account to raise money. And a lot of people take that link from the GoFundMe and post it on their personal social media pages. And if people donate is when it becomes a gift and when things can become problematic. So let's test our knowledge with respect to gifts in social media. Example number 1. Rashi is a supervisor at her agency. She maintains a personal Facebook page and is friends with many of her coworkers. Rashi is also very passionate about deforestation. She creates a GoFundMe page to raise money to support a tree planting group in the district and posts the link to her personal Facebook page. Rashi's administrative aide sees the link on the Facebook account and contributes $50 to Rashi's GoFundMe account. Now, if we could use the question and answer box at the side of our screen, can anyone tell me whether they see an issue here? Is Rashi committed, or is Rashi, can Rashi be fined or sanctioned for an ethics violation? Not everyone all at once? Yes or no? Do we think she can be sanctioned? Do we have any responses, host?
We have yes responses.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see any. Yes, next slide. Thanks for your participation. I didn't see any for a second. Can you go to the next? Rashi should immediately return the contribution to her administrative aide. An employee may not directly or indirectly, and so yes, she may not have directly asked her administrative aide, who for purposes of the example is her subordinate employee. She not directly asked her, but she did accept a gift from her. If she keeps it anyway, she would have accepted a gift from a subordinate employee. And of course, we don't want subordinate employees to give gifts to superiors, because of course when Rashi goes to do her administrative aide's evaluation, it may be in the back of her head that she received a $50 contribution to her this cause that she was so passionate about just a few days before. One more. Gifts in social media. Johnny maintains a Facebook account. Johnny is Facebook friends with the owner of a prohibited source, whom he first met after the owner began working with Johnny's agency. The owner of the prohibited source sends Johnny access to a game hosted on Facebook that costs $60. Johnny accesses and plays the game. So a prohibited source, someone looking to do business or is already doing business with Johnny's agency, pays $60 for Johnny to play a game on Facebook. Is this an ethics violation? If you're responding, if you can put to everyone at the bottom of the chat so that we can see if
there are several. Yes,
okay.
It's a violation.
Thank you. Yes, then. In this instance, Johnny has violated the code of conduct by accepting a gift from a prohibited source. Access to the game had a monetary value of $60 and was provided by someone that he could not accept the gift from. Good job. Although I see one no, but I think someone was trying to be difficult. Moving to the next blunder. So using public office for personal or private gain is a provision of the district personnel manual. Comes into play on social media when you tie your social media account by either listing your district employment on your page. As a best practice, I don't even know that you know that I'm a lawyer on my personal page. Nowhere on my social media does it say Sonia King, attorney, Pfizer, and Vega. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it. And so I'm going to, the next few slides will tell you how you should go about it if you are going to post it on your page. So, again, no prohibition on including your district employment in your biographical section. The prohibition is on using your public office for private gain. So if you have it on your bio section of your social media account, but then you take action in your posts or your pictures that give the appearance, or your tweets that the district is sanctioning or endorsing specific activity, but you also have your employee district employment written all over your page, you could be in violation of this section of the DPM. The DPM also prohibits employees from engaging in outside employment or private business activity that allows you to capitalize on your official title or position. So again, you just need to be extremely careful if you are intertwining your business title or your agency name with your personal social media account. And so how can we tell? It's not often really easy to see whether this is someone's personal page or a professional page, or whether they're trying to commingle the two. This is a list of loose factors that we would consider if we got a complaint of whether the two were intertwined. I'd look to see whether you stated on your personal page whether you're acting on behalf of the government, whether you're prominently featuring your agency's name, seal, uniform, or similar items on your social media account and endorsing an activity in sort of close proximity on page to one or the other. Or if you hold a highly visible position in the government, it becomes harder to separate the two, right? If you are Mayor Muriel Bowser and you tweet something, it's hard to say whether this is in my personal capacity, and this is why she maintains two separate pages, one that is just Muriel Bowser and one that actually has the mayor in the title. And then another is number 6, bullet point number 6 anyway, is a catch-all. So other circumstances that if we were anyone reasonable person looking at your page could see, yes, you are clearly tying these two together. This is somehow affiliated with your district employment or your district job. What is the way we can prevent it? Now, this isn't a foolproof, but including a disclaimer that affirmatively disavows their government sanction or endorsement of their post is helpful. So something like the views expressed herein are not the views of the District of Columbia government, or these tweets are my own would work. But again, if you have these tweets are my own and then have 17 violations after that, it is not going to prevent you from an ethics violation or save you from an ethics complaint. Also, for the majority of you who I believe have social media accounts, if you use the @ or the hashtag symbol, you could inadvertently or maybe intentionally tie yourself to something. So on my page, if I have attorney by advisor at Vega, but then I use the hashtag Vega Ethics Week at Vega Ethics Attorney and then post something political afterwards, I'm connecting the two, and again could now found myself in a sticky ethics situation. Let's play the test our knowledge game again. Stan maintains a Facebook account which lists his district employment, along with other information in the biographical section. There is no disclaimer on his Facebook account. Stan likes to cater, and Stan posts an advertisement for his private catering company on his Facebook account. Is Stan in violation of the code of conduct? We've got some, okay, we're split here, it looks like, at least from the few that I can see. Next slide. No, Stan's Facebook post would not violate the code of conduct. Just because he said he works for Vega in the employment section of his page, and then later has a post or a tweet about his catering business, does not in itself rise to the level of an ethics violation. Our next question. Ronald maintains a Facebook account which does not list his district employment in the biographical section. Ronald is a deputy administrator in his agency. Due to the higher profile position, Ronald's Facebook account contains a disclaimer. Ronald posts an advertisement for a business he owns. Ronald is a party promoter on his Facebook account. The advertisement reads, "Please support my party promoting business. All of my coworkers at Vega say it's the best." Has Ron violated the code of conduct? Oh, okay, this is an easy one for you guys. Next slide. Yes, due to his high-profile position in the district government, as well as the inclusion of a link to his agency, there is a clear violation of the code of conduct, as it gives the impression that the district government is supporting his business and is using his title for private gain. The disclaimer is insufficient to protect him under these facts. The result would be no different in this example had he not held a high-profile position, given the direct reference to his coworkers. Good job, team. Moving to number 3, common ethics blunders in social media, political activity. And given this season, this is a big one, right? We have to be careful of our political endorsements and our political activity on social media. The Local Hatch Act regulates political activity of district employees. The Local Hatch Act defines political activities as any activity directed toward the success or failure of a political party, candidate for partisan political office, partisan political group, ballot initiative, or referendum. When engaging in district campaigns or elections, DC government employees cannot knowingly solicit, accept, or receive a political contribution from any person and cannot file as a candidate for election to a DC partisan political office. So how does this relate to my social media accounts? I cannot fundraise through my Twitter, Facebook, or personal social media pages for a candidate in a district-regulated campaign or election. So district-regulated campaign, I can do it for my friend running in Prince George's County, but I cannot do it for a district-regulated campaign or election. I also, again, tying it to social media, can't provide links to the contribution of these pages on my social media accounts. Aside from the actual activity it sounds to, district government employees are prohibited from engaging in these activities while they're on duty, using district technology, so your work laptops and cell phones, in any room or building occupied in the discharge of official duties in DC government, wearing your DC uniform, or using a vehicle owned or leased by the district. Also, you may not coerce explicitly nor implicitly any subordinate employee to engage in political activity, i.e. refrain from threats on your tweets or your Facebook statuses telling folks who to vote for. And DC government employees cannot use your official authority or influence for the purpose of interfering with or affecting the results of an election. So telling people to get out and vote is one thing, telling them who to get out and vote for specifically would be a violation. With respect to social media, you can violate the Local Hatch Act in 2 ways: the time of day that you use the private social media account and the manner in which you use the private social media account. Again, if you're referencing your agency or government title in any post, status, or tweet, you may not direct people to vote for or against a candidate. Link to a partisan political group's social media account because it demonstrates support for the group. Post a picture of a partisan political candidate or political cartoon. Again, while referencing your agency, you can do it on your own personal page if you don't have your title there. Or share a link to a partisan political group's website or an article advocating for or against a partisan political candidate. And there's our, this is all in our supplementary advisory opinion. Let's test our knowledge. Sandra, a district employee, wants to get involved in the management of the political campaign of a candidate for partisan political office for an election regulated by the district. Sandra creates a website for the candidate. One of the pages on the website created is a link to contribute to the campaign. Has Sandra violated the code of conduct? The hashtag. Okay, I guess this was an easy one. Next slide. Yes, she's violated the code of conduct by engaging in fundraising activities. Good job, guys. Next slide. Ashley, a DC employee, just added the following post to her Instagram account. Her handle is @OneCoolEthicsAttorney. Has she violated the hashtag? I was wanting this one to be a trick question, but I guess you guys already know it all. No, the post is not directed towards the success affair of a political party, candidate for partisan political office, partisan political group, ballot initiative, or referendum. Not on the ballot now, unless that changes, but for now, it is not political activity. One more test your knowledge for politics. Rochelle maintains a Facebook account. One day during a 15-minute break between meetings, Rochelle contributes $2,000, Rochelle's the director, by the way, to a partisan political candidate's campaign through a Facebook link while located in a district building. Has Rochelle violated the code of conduct? Correct. In this scenario, Rochelle violated the code of conduct because donating to a campaign is political activity. Furthermore, she did it during her tour of duty and in a district-occupied space. Moving to our next blunder session, recommendations or endorsements. You see this one a lot on LinkedIn, but it goes with liking and retweeting on the other social media platforms as well. So a common area where an employee's personal social media can violate the code of conduct because it allows, social media platforms allow users to recommend, endorse, like the skills or of other users or of their friends. We should treat this no differently than if you were asked to write a handwritten personal letter recommendation for someone. An employee who writes a letter of recommendation for a contractor or a grantee must be certain that they have the authority to speak on behalf of the district government or their agency. Most employees don't have this authority. The employees who do are the mayor, council member, agency heads, and in some instances, high-level executive managers and council staffers. If an employee makes such a recommendation or an endorsement on their personal social media account, they must clearly indicate that it was made in their personal capacity only and not on behalf of the district. And again, if you use remember to be careful using the @ or the hashtag because it can tie you to an endorsement or a recommendation if you put it in your tweet or status. Let's test our knowledge. Asia maintains a LinkedIn account that contains her biographical information. Asia worked in the same district agency as Ralph. They did not work on any projects together. Accordingly, their relationship was personal and not professional. Ralph left the district agency and requested Asia endorse him on LinkedIn. Asia endorsed Ralph's writing and communication skills on LinkedIn. She stated, "I would strongly recommend Ralph for any job that requires intensive writing and communication skills. Based upon reviews from supervisors who managed him, Ralph's work was always top-notch. You will not be disappointed in your decision to hire Ralph." Has Asia committed a code of conduct violation? All right, we're paying attention. Next slide. Yes, Asia's recommendation violates the code of conduct. It does not specifically mention the district, but professional recommendations must be based on a professional relationship and personal knowledge. There's neither a professional relationship nor personal knowledge concerning the skills of Ralph. Exactly. He was speaking on behalf, she was using other people's recommendations. Example number 9, Tyrell maintains a Facebook account that contains his district employment information in the biographical section. While browsing Facebook, Tyrell noticed the page of Acme Computers, a prohibited source. Tyrell liked the prohibited source Facebook page. Tyrell also left the following recommendation on the prohibited sources Facebook page. I strongly recommend Acme for any IT issues you may have. I had an issue at work where I was unable to access the internet. My IT department was unable to resolve the issue, but my IT department ultimately contacted Acme and the issue was resolved immediately. Is this permissible? Uh-oh, we might be split on this one. Let's see the answer. The recommendation is not a violation of the regulation is not a violation of the code of conduct. Although Acme Computers is a prohibited source, Tyrell's recommendation does not mention the district and is provided in the personal capacity and based on a professional relationship. And they did not give him a gift. Misuse of government resources. And so the final on my, what I think are the common blunders is the misuse of government resources. Let's discuss. The DPM states that an employee has a duty to protect and conserve government property and shall not use such property or allow for its use other than for unauthorized purposes. Thus, an employee's use of a personal social media account during working hours and using government-issued technology is not encouraged, particularly when such use causes an employee to be unproductive or causes the district to incur costs. So what am I saying? You shouldn't spend most of your workday on your personal social media account because that would be a violation of the DPM. You'd be using government resources and government time. Obviously, this is, at the end of this is a de minimis phrase. So if you're spending hours of your day on it, that would be an obvious and clear violation of the code of conduct. But the time spent on personal social media account while at work can violate the code of conduct. So most of what we just talked about were on your personal pages, but also I felt the need to point out that many district agencies have official social media accounts. Some of you may have access to or be allowed to permit on your agency's official accounts. Then you really, and I can't stress enough, need to make sure that you're doing it within the guidelines. Official social media accounts are considered, the page itself is a government resource, and you can't use it anything for other than their authorized purposes, which is statutorily defined as purposes for which government property is made available to members of the public. So the page is for everyone in the district or everyone, just the public at large to access, and the purpose is authorized by the agency head in accordance with law or regulation. It must be used for official agency business only. Political activity, partisan or nonpartisan, is not an authorized purpose. You must be careful when you retweet, like, or endorse posts from the official page. You don't have that First Amendment protection that you did when I said you can, support whatever candidate you want to on your own time, as long as you don't link it to your page. But if you're doing it from the official government social media account, you shouldn't do it at all. Those are the general rules. Agencies are encouraged to adopt their own social media policies, and some may actually have those, so you should check with your local ethics or your agency ethics counselor for individual rules. Again, if your agency does oppose those rules, they don't have jurisdiction over those. An employee can provide an endorsement on LinkedIn for other employees. An agency may limit the conduct and provide that its employees are not allowed to endorse other employees or contractors. This is just an example of where your agency can have a separate guidelines for your social media use. Where to go for ethics advice? Again, I'm Sonia King. That's our general information for our website, our hotline. I'm on the Outlook server, sonia.king, and the number's 3 after King, K-I-N-G, kind of spelling. Any questions about the presentation this morning? And if you are typing, if you can make sure it says to everyone, because I don't think that I was getting all of them in the chat box. Hello, hi. Ms. Host, are there anything that I'm missing? Oh, I do see a question. Is there an issue if the person is not a subordinate but is merely a coworker? No, and obviously, if gifts are motivated by an outside relationship, then we would consider that. If I receive something from a family member and it's motivated because of the fact that they are a family member and not necessarily due to the relationship at work, that is something that we would consider. Regarding social media, I'm going to read the question, another one. Regarding social media use based on the time of day, if we are out of the office grabbing lunch and tweet something negative about a political candidate, that could theoretically be no good even if we can send the same tweet at night. So if you're not on duty and it's not linked to your official government page, then it's fine. It becomes an issue when you do it when you're supposed to be, when you're on the government's dollar and when you're tying it to your page, to your district employment. So if Chris, right, if Chris doesn't have his official title after his name before he says, don't vote for X or X is a bad person, then you're fine. What if they maintain a personal relationship outside of work? What do you mean, what if they maintain a personal relationship out of work? Tweeting about them? And
That question goes to the example with Rashi and the GoFundMe page.
Accepting a gift from someone that, again, if it's not motivated by, I think it would, I would say she should not accept the gift from the subordinate, because if they're that close to someone and she's responsible for evaluation, she should not. And I don't know if the host would want to jump in on that one, but I would not recommend it unless we can prove that it's not motivated by the work relation. There's an outside relationship. Another one, what considerations should I make when using LinkedIn where use of title, work, accomplishment, and agency name are visible and used directly for personal networking and job seeking? If you can't say it personally, then don't say it at all. I mean, that's the best way to sum it up. If you've worked with them and you are allowed to give it, sure, and can give an example of the work that they've done, but not just generally they're a good person, you should be fine given the recommendation. And again, if you're unsure, I can tell you now, myself, the host, and other attorney advisors in my agency, we always proofread, not always, but we often review letters of recommendation. Previous endorsements of colleagues, pre-district employment, how are those handled? You writing a letter for someone you worked for before, and the position that you had before, position you held before, for someone you worked for outside of the district, I don't see any issue. If you're doing it and you say that at the time that you worked, you're referencing your district title and you're saying that I worked with so-and-so at so-and-so agency and this is what we did, or so-and-so private employment and this is what we did together, not an issue because you're not referencing your district employment and you work from them personally. Is it permissible for an employee to send an email to ask work colleagues for donations to a scholarship the employee is establishing? My answer to this is going to be generally no. I think you should think of it as the gift shouldn't go up. And if I'm sending an email to a listserv that there are people that will get forwarded and then they donate and I find myself accepting the gift as Rashi did, I could get in trouble. So, no. Did I miss any? We have one more. Where should we put the disclaimer on our social media page? Is just saying this is my personal account enough, or do I have to say not affiliated with DC government? So again, I said that the disclaimer is not it doesn't save you from anything, but I think putting it either right after you list your district title, if you're putting it on there, I would say is the best location. But as long as it's there and someone can see it, if it's the first post on your page and then it gets buried and it's harder to see, but there's no right rule for it. But I think right after you list your district title would probably be my best advice. And you can say, yes, I think both of those would suffice. It's my personal account. It just references my views, or that you're not affiliated with DC government. Both would work. If I'm running for nonpartisan office, ANC, may I request donations on my own page? Now, ANC offices are nonpartisan, so no, that you wouldn't be subject to the hashtag provision. Yes. In respect to the 2020 general election, you post this on your personal accounts to friends. And memes, memes. In respect to the 2020 general election and memes, can you post this on your personal account to friends? Again, you can post anything you want on your personal account. It becomes an issue when it's linked to your district account. So if you want to post memes, just don't put that you're an attorney advisor advisor on your page. It's when you do it from an official government page or link your page to your DC government employee. Yes, the posting likes and retweets are not endorsements is similar to the disclaimer language. Any other questions? Did I get everyone? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And join us for the rest of the sessions this afternoon. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you.